Hi, welcome to our first hands-on session on AWS. Before we begin to follow this class, you're gonna need an AWS account. Remember that the free tier only applies to certain services with specific features. So please, if you're not familiar with what you're doing, only do what I do and remember to take down everything you set up. In this lesson, we will have a first view on an EC2 instance and some associated services. We will launch an instance with a custom security group, and we will associate an elastic IP address. Elastic addresses are static, so if you need to resize or change something, the IP will still be the same. Let's get started. First thing first, search EC2 on your search bar. So you can start with this lesson. The first thing we're going to do is create a security group. As you can see, there are a lot of options in this GUI. So search for security group on the sidebar. As you can see, there are two already set up security groups, but we're going to create a new one. So you can see how it's done. First thing we're going to do is create his username. And also type a description if you want. Next, we're gonna set up inbound rules, which are the port you want to receive traffic to, and from what IP addresses. Here, I've created two rules, one for the 80 port and one for the port 443. And the source is basically 000, which means every IP address. As you can see, AWS already tells you that. So all IP addresses will be allowed to connect to our instance. Once created, we are gonna create an elastic IP. So search for elastic IP on the sidebar, and it's very easy. Click on allocate elastic IP address and click on allocate. There we go. This is our static IP address that we just created. Next, we're going to launch our instance. First thing, you're going to need a name for the instance. You can choose whatever you want. And then we're going to choose our operating system. As you can see, AWS has its own Linux. Or you can choose an AMI. An AMI is an identifier for a predefined machine. If you want, with already some software installed. We're gonna not talk about it, but if you want to study it on your own, I encourage it. I'm gonna go again on the launch instance. I'm just gonna leave Amazon Linux. Next, you can choose the architecture of your machine and the CPU. As you can see, the only free tier eligible CPU is the T2 Micro. So I'm gonna select that. Next, you're gonna need a key pair. Key pair is basically a way you can connect to your machine with the SSH connection. I'm just gonna create a PEM key. You just need to give it a name. You can also allocate an existing key to multiple machines, but we're not gonna do that now. Next, we're gonna select the security group we just created for the machine. We can configure the storage. You can configure the amount of storage and the type of volumes you want for is SSD for general purpose or whatever you want. I'm just gonna leave 8 gigabytes with GP3. You can also allocate multiple root volumes. There are more configuration you can put in your machine. I'm not gonna explain them because there are a lot, there are dozens of configurations. If you're curious, you just can click on info or read the official documentation. And the final thing is the number of instances we can create. I'm just gonna select one, but you can create multiple instances with the same configuration. So next, let's take a look at our instance. You can click on it, and on the tab below, you can see there are a lot of details you can look at. First, we can see what VPC it's in and what subnet it's in. Next, in details, you can see the AMI ID and a lot of other stuff. You can click on monitoring to see the CPU utilization, the network, and so on. In the security tab, you can see the security groups it's associated with, the inbound and outbound rules, the volumes. You can see pretty much everything you want from here. So next, we're going to associate our Elastic IP to our EC2 instance. You can just click on Associate IP address, choose your instance, in our case AWS Mock, and click on Associate. As you can see, we have this IP address. So if we look at instance and we click on it, we have the same IP that we just touched. So next, we're gonna take down the Elastic IP. First, here I'm making a mistake, because first you need to disassociate the Elastic IP address, and then you can release it. There you go, release, and it's all done. And then you can also take down the EC2 instance if you want. It's in free tier, so you're not forced to do it, but the free tier only lasts 1 year, so it's up to you. As a task for home, try to take down the EC2 instance. This concludes our session. Thank you for following through.